I'm Amber Rebecca with FaithVillage.com, and I'm sitting here on the couch with author Gary Thomas.
Hi, Amber.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to talk about his book called Everybody Matters. What are some of the emotional repercussions you've seen or experienced yourself after discerning the connection between physical health and spiritual health?
I've been so encouraged by the response when people talk about it on that level. When I preach on this, you're always nervous because I can preach on pornography, and I know from statistics maybe half the guys in the church have been dealing with that recently, but nobody knows. There's no big P on their forehead or something like that. When you preach on this issue, it gets a little bit more personal, although I try to make it very clear that this is not about body shape or size, because I know heroic eaters and wonderful exercises where they're just not created to be thin. So this is not a book about thin is holy and not being thin is not, that's not the case. It's about being healthy. But here's the thing, most of us know what we should do as far as how we're eating and whether or not we're exercising, but we just lack the motivation. And that's what Everybody Matters is trying to do. I'm not a specialist in exercise or specialist in nutrition. I don't have the schooling that you have in that area, apparently. But a lot of us, it's more about motivation. And so I'm just connecting it to discipleship. And a lot of people that have struggled with their entire life, that's what's been transformational to them. They come to me and say, Gary, I've been on every diet and everything, but this is the first time where I've really seen it connected as an act of discipleship. And it gives me a whole new approach to how I want to deal with that. So I've been most encouraged by those that feel like this has been a lifelong battle, and now they feel like they have a whole new lease because they're looking at it. A lot of us pursue healthier bodies and fitter bodies for the same worldly reasons as non-Christians. We want to look better and we want to feel better. So we're trying to fight gluttony and sloth with selfishness and vanity. So you're just swapping sins. So somebody's spending 5 hours a day in the gym, well, yeah, they look fit, but is that the life that most honors God? Now, maybe if you're training for a professional sport, it might be. If you've got a family and a job, that it might not be. But what I'm trying to say is it's not about feeling better or looking better, although you'll probably get that. It's really discipleship. This is what it means to be God's son. This is what it means to be God's daughter, a faithful person who's offering their body back to God.
I'm actually really involved in fitness and health and nutrition, and I like that a lot. And to me, I often will relate it to the suffering that we endure. In other areas of our lives, it's kind of like that physical metaphor when you put why do we put our bodies through suffering? What else is there? And what would be your answer to if someone was to ask you that?
It's been so true in my life. I like to run marathons. I'm trying to get better at some light strength training. You can tell I don't take it that seriously. But, for me, that's been a thing. The ascetics in ancient times, I think, would go too far when they'd be physically beating their bodies and making themselves bleed or putting leeches on their body and wearing their hair shirts and whatnot. But I have found that while I don't think running long distance is carrying a cross, I think it makes me spiritually stronger so that I'm willing to carry a cross. And I think they're just lessons you learn training when you don't give up. Just because there's a little resistance, you say, you know what, that's not going to define my workout. Same thing with, little temptation, that's not going to define who I am. I'm going to press on. Or I'm in a relationship. I don't like where this is going, but I'm not going to give up. I need to press on. And so I do think there is a connection between building your soul by addressing your body so that you're more willing to endure those things. I found the exact same thing true in my life.
In your book, you talk about God's grace and motivating, and that being motivation for us to be healthy. So how so?
Romans 12:1, I love this passage. It says, it tells, offer your bodies to God as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. And, a lot of us have body issues. We're not thrilled with how we look. It's so hard to maintain, and the standards are so absurd these days. The internet and magazines and movies have changed everything, because it wasn't that long ago, a couple hundred years ago, when women and men would be compared with other men and women in their village, and that's all you saw. But today you get these genetic freaks of nature from all parts of the globe, people who spend, because they're Hollywood stars, half their days in the gym working on it, and this becomes a standard that really is is unattainable. But here's the thing, if I'm offering my body as a living sacrifice to God, whatever He's given me, it's holy, and I hope especially the women can hear it, and pleasing to God. And first I want it to be pleasing to Him, because He knows the struggles I face. He knows if there's been abuse in your past. He knows if you didn't get the best gene pool that creates a certain look. He knows the wounds that you're carrying and the temptations that might result. Because it's not just about gluttony and sloth. There are a lot of things, shame in our life, hurt and abuse, that can make us more susceptible to. God knows all that. And so when we're offering it back to Him, it's pleasing to Him. And so I think women and men can say, you know what? I'm pleasing one person with my body, and that's God. I don't really care what the world thinks. I'm not here to impress the world. And I just got to say, as I get older, it's so freeing.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to impress somebody how I look. It's like, does God say, as I care for my body, well done, my good and faithful servant? That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, that's it. It's the freedom, and that was the key word that rang in my mind. So, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your
pleasure.
time.
Thanks for having me.
It's been awesome.